Tel Aviv has long been seen as the nerve center of Israel, a modern hub filled with skyscrapers, busy markets, and a sense of invincibility rooted in the state's advanced defense systems. But the news breaking today paints a completely different picture of vulnerability. The combined forces of Iran, Egypt, and Lebanon launched a coordinated bombardment on Tel Aviv. And this time something unprecedented happened. Israel's renowned defense system, often showcased as one of the most advanced in the world, was successfully breached. To understand the gravity of this, we need to take a closer look at what was targeted, how the attack was executed, and what this means for the wider region. The first element to note is the scale and coordination of the offensive. Attacks on Israel from neighboring states or groups have historically been sporadic and isolated, often allowing the Iron Dome and David's sling systems to respond with high efficiency. What unfolded in Tel Aviv, however, was a synchronized tri-national strike involving Iran's long-range ballistic missile capabilities, Egypt's airstrike coordination, and Lebanon's use of both precision-guided rockets and mass-saturation firepower. This combination created an overwhelming scenario that tested Israel's multi-layered defense structure in ways it had never been tested before. For years, Israel invested heavily in the Iron Dome, arrow systems, and David's sling, designed to intercept everything from short-range rockets to long-range ballistic missiles. But as with any technological system, there are limits. An opponent seemed to have studied those weaknesses carefully. By staggering launches, mixing decoys with real warheads, and overloading radar systems, the attackers managed to push Israel's defense grid past its breaking point. This isn't just about weapons. It's about strategy and understanding the design architecture of an opponent's defense to expose blind spots. From a performance standpoint, the strike demonstrated that no defense system is truly impenetrable. Systems like the Iron Dome rely on calculations of trajectory and cost-effectiveness, choosing which incoming projectiles to intercept and which to ignore if they are predicted to land in open areas. When hundreds of missiles, drones, and rockets are fired simultaneously, that calculation becomes harder to manage. Reports indicate that the bombardment included not only explosive warheads, but also electronic warfare tools designed to jam communication and confuse radar detection. In simple terms, Israel's shield was attacked not just with missiles, but also with invisible weapons that disrupted its ability to see clearly. The visuals emerging from Tel Aviv show destruction in areas that until now were considered safe. The city's design, marked by dense neighborhoods, tech hubs, and international embassies, makes it particularly sensitive to attacks. Unlike border towns accustomed to occasional rocket fire, Tel Aviv represents Israel's global image of security and modernity. For residents, the psychological breach may be as devastating as the physical one. People who had faith in the reliability of their defenses suddenly found themselves exposed, running for cover in bomb shelters as explosions lit up the night sky. One of the most unique aspects of this situation is the cooperation between three different nations with distinct military doctrines and histories. Iran has long invested in missile technology and drones. Egypt possesses one of the largest conventional armies in the region with advanced aircraft. And Lebanon, through Hezbollah's experience in guerrilla-style rocket saturation attacks. Combining these strengths allowed them to create an assault that was not only diverse, but also Each component of the attack exploited a different layer of Israel's defenses. It was a display not just of firepower, but of coordination, something rarely seen in Middle Eastern conflicts where rivalries often prevent such unity. The question now turns to how this breach will be interpreted by Israel and its allies. For decades, the narrative has been that Israel's technological edge ensures its survival, even in the most hostile of environments. The success of this assault challenges that narrative. It raises doubts about the effectiveness of heavy investments in missile defense versus offensive deterrence. It also poses questions for countries like the United States, which rely on and help fund similar systems. If Tel Aviv can be breached, what does that mean for us bases or allies in the region who depend on the same technology? From a technical angle, military analysts are likely to dissect how the attackers managed to integrate traditional weapons with electronic warfare in real time. Reports suggest that drones carrying electronic jammers flew ahead of the main barrage, creating interference in communication frequencies. Following that, Waves of low-cost rockets forced the Iron Dome to use up interceptor missiles, which cost far more than the rockets themselves. Only after this saturation did the more advanced ballistic missiles arrive, carrying heavier payload. This sequencing is a textbook example of overwhelming a system designed to prioritize efficiency. It highlights the importance of adaptability in military design. Systems that are static and predictable become vulnerable when adversaries innovate. On the civilian side, the performance of Tel Aviv's emergency infrastructure is also under scrutiny. Shelters were quickly filled, evacuation protocols were activated, and hospitals reported a surge of casualties. While Israel has some of the most well-prepared urban populations when it comes to missile alerts, even that preparation was tested to its limits. This brings attention to the human design element of such conflicts. No matter how advanced the defense systems may be, the ultimate measure of resilience is the ability of ordinary people to survive and adapt under pressure. Another critical factor to note is the symbolic impact. Tel Aviv is not just another city. It is Israel's cultural, financial, and diplomatic capital. Striking it successfully carries a message that resonates far beyond physical destruction. It tells Israel's adversaries that even the most fortified city can be touched. It tells Israel's population that their trust in technology has limits. And it tells the world that the balance of power in the Middle East may be shifting from defense-dominant strategies to offensive breakthroughs. Internationally, reactions are pouring in, with allies expressing solidarity and adversaries celebrating a perceived victory. The breach is likely to influence geopolitical alignments. Nations observing from afar will study this event for lessons on modern warfare. How electronic warfare pairs with physical bombardment, how mass saturation can collapse even advanced defense, and how coordinated strategies among diverse militaries can achieve what isolated efforts cannot. All these lessons will feed into future planning, not just in the Middle East, but globally. For Israel, the unique selling point of its defense systems has always been their reliability under fire. That reliability was their brand, their deterrent, and their pride. The fact that these systems faltered when confronted with unprecedented coordination challenges the very core of that image. The next steps for Israel will likely involve both military retaliation and rapid technological adaptation. Upgrades to radar resilience, stockpiling more interceptors, and integrating artificial intelligence to better predict attack patterns may all come into play. Meanwhile, for the citizens of Tel Aviv, life has been permanently altered. The breach is not just an event, it's a turning point. Children who once looked at the Iron Dome as a protective umbrella may now see it as a flawed shield. Families who felt safe in central Israel now carry the same anxieties long felt in border regions. The psychological scars will take far longer to heal than the physical rebuilding of structures. It is not simply about who has the biggest weapons anymore. It is about who can think ahead, exploit weaknesses, and coordinate across multiple domains of warfare, land, cyber, and electronic. As Tel Aviv smolders and the world reacts, the lessons from this moment will echo widely. The attack was not just on Israel, but on the very concept of invincibility that Advanced Defense Systems project. It demonstrated that technology alone cannot guarantee safety, that coordination can overcome even the most powerful shields, and that in the evolving landscape of conflict, unpredictability is the ultimate weapon.